Good morning, welcome. This is Business Equity and Opportunities. I'm Scott Sander. We'll start this Sunday with a history lesson. This date, 1857, an American industrialist and inventor, Elijah Otis, installed his first passenger elevator in a department store in New York City. Steam powered it. The elevator carried passengers 5 stories up or down in less than a minute. It marked the start of the Otis Elevator Company, now known as Otis, a publicly traded worldwide huge corporation. We say it because it's an example of how technology, an idea, and some entrepreneurial effort can turn into success. It is the goal of this show to provide you with resources and inspiration to help you successfully start and grow your business, maybe even spark your own industrial revolution. Our segments remain the same. Getting started, thoughts on accessing capital, what's happening this week in business, accounting and bookkeeping, running your business day to day, an industry focus, and we close with a success story. We engage in conversations with experts, business owners, entrepreneurs, and local and national leaders who share their insights and their personal stories to help you find your own business success. Throughout the hour, you'll see a QR code that'll take you straight to our website where you'll have all of our segments at your fingertips. While you're there, we encourage you to subscribe to our growing weekly newsletter. It comes out every Tuesday at our Business Equity and Opportunities podcast on the All Indiana Podcast Network. Here's what's ahead this hour on Business Equity and Opportunities. The goal to provide AI training for everyone in Indiana, how to stand out in a freelance market. Beneficial ownership information rules are changing again. The Indiana HR Conference and Expo, who should attend? And Lifestyle TV, an industry focus we happen to know a lot about. And we share a very personal success story. We are getting started with a visit from Ting Gootee, the CEO of TechPoint, which has worked with INNOPower for the last 3 years, using their combined resources to help train and prepare people in our community to be competitive in innovation sectors. Now TechPoint has partnered with the Indy BizPass as part of its AI trainer program to help small businesses learn how to use artificial intelligence as a tool for their success.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities. Getting started.
At TechPoint, our mission is to inclusively grow Indiana's tech economy through talent, innovation, and community initiatives. We've been fortunate, since I've been here for the last 3 years, watching the evolution of AI adoption transpiring at a national stage, global stage, and translate that into how that's relevant to our overall tech sector growth economy. The truth of the matter is, technology is transformational, it's transforming all industries, and here we have a goal in terms of trying to make tech a competitive edge.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities. Access to capital.
Welcome back to Business Equity and Opportunities. One of our favorite things to do is to welcome back guests who have done well enough for us that we'd like them to become frequent contributors. Lorraine K. Lee is certainly one of those. Good to see you again. Thanks for being with us. She has a book over her left shoulder, you can see, as a matter of fact, called Unforgettable Presence, Get Seen, Gain Influence, Catapult Your Career. Topic today specifically is freelancing. So as we talk both to business owners, entrepreneurs, and maybe some folks who are looking to pick up a gig or two, what's the state of the world in freelancing right now?
I think freelancing is growing a lot, and this is something that happened to me. I was in tech for a decade plus, and then I got impacted by a layoff and had to decide, do I stay the corporate path or do I go off on my own? And decided to go off on my own, so I've been in business for 2 years, and I'm definitely seeing a lot more people going in that direction as well.
It is a very daunting thing to do, though, when you are in, whether it's a corporate environment, small business, but when you're in that, there's a safety. Going out as a freelancer, that's pretty intimidating. How do you manage that?
Well, the first thing I would say is that corporate does seem safer, but once you go through a layoff, you realize, oh, maybe it's not. It's not as secure as I thought it was. But to your point, freelancing is a very scary thing. There isn't that security blanket. You don't have a team behind you. You don't have the regular salary. So I think one of the most important things when you decide to become a freelancer, decide to do consulting, your own business, is mindset, and realizing that there is going to be a lot of that uncertainty, and you have to be okay with that. And sometimes you don't know if you're going to be okay with that until you try the thing.
Let's put this upside down and ask, from a hirer perspective, from the business owner, from the person who might be looking for freelancers, they may also be like, I'd rather have somebody that, I know they'll be there every day, 40 hours a week, whether maybe 50 if I need them, and we'll just do a conventional sort of employment situation. Kind of speak to them about maybe some of the strengths that a freelancer may bring to their operation.
When you hire a freelancer versus a full-time employee, there's a different dynamic and different relationship. So with freelancers, they are hired there to do a specific project, to do the work. They have a little bit more flexibility about when they do it. When you have a full-time employee, there's a lot more that goes into it, right? With an employee, you need to train them, you need to be their manager, there's a lot more paperwork probably, right? There's like the team dynamics that you have to think about. So if you are just trying to execute on something, you need a few more hands on deck, for example, a freelancer might be the way to go because maybe you don't need that person for the full year or for the, to fill in a gap in the team, but you just need that person for a specific project. So in that case, that would be beneficial and you don't have to necessarily train them or incorporate them into your team as fully as a full-time employee.
Something that small business owners share in common with, say, a freelancer is this idea of brand building. This is a concept that 20 years ago we just left it to the McDonald's and the Coca-Colas of the world.
Yes.
But now there's an embrace of that, and you've lived that.
Yes. So everyone has a personal brand. And I think to your point, Scott, people initially would think, oh, brand is for a company or someone who's very marketing themselves all the time. But I think especially in this day and age, and especially as a freelancer, personal brand or your career brand is so important. And what a personal brand essentially is your reputation and what people know you for. And so if you are trying to get business, if you are on platforms like LinkedIn, which you should be as a freelancer, that's going to be a really critical piece for people who might hire you to understand, is this person trustworthy? What kind of work output do they have? What is their experience? So being intentional about our personal brands is very critical if you're a freelancer.
There's something that we talked about last visit here on Business Equity and Opportunities was this idea that working hard is critically important, but it won't get you career and advancement in and of itself. That seems maybe doubly true for the freelancer.
Actually true, yeah. You have to put yourself out there, otherwise no one's going to know that you're doing your business and what you do. Exactly.
All right. Well, again, the time that you spent with us this morning will be helpful to whether folks are looking for their own gig or are looking to hire as well. So the parallels just are perfect with the freelancer and the small business owner. She is a good friend now of our broadcast, Lorraine K. Lee, writer of Unforgettable Presence. Thanks for your time. The Indie BizPass Ecosystem Newsletter is a great resource for upcoming events like the Women's Circle Brunch. Ahead, what it is and how you can get involved. That's on Business Equity and Opportunities when we come back.
Behind every headline is a story, and sometimes the facts aren't easy to find. But for Wish TV's iTeam8, that's what we do.
Every day, we investigate all angles.
Going straight to the source, even behind closed doors.
From everyday frustrations to decisions that can shape your future.
We push for the truth, and we don't stop until you get answers.
We're Wish TV's iTeam8, investigating for you.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities. This week in business, a reminder, applications for this year's Rally Pitch Competition are now open with $5 million spread across 5 categories: agriculture and food, healthcare, sports tech, software, and hard tech. Individual entrepreneurs and inventors can compete for $1 million to accelerate their startups. Get your application in soon. The deadline is May 12th for a chance to make your pitch on a global stage. This week, we also want to turn your attention to the Indie BizPass Ecosystem Newsletter, one of our partners and another resource for business news and opportunities. That's where we found information on the upcoming Women's Circle Brunch. Organizer Kristle Brooks gives us a preview.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities. This Week in Business.
So last year, I started a financial literacy seminar series at P30 where I did it for free, bringing the community out to learn about financial skills and as well as talk about financial trauma, negative money mindset, and how to heal your finances so that you can reach the financial freedom. I plan on bringing that back this year. I want to add a little bit more of life insurance into it, where we can talk about succession planning for entrepreneurs, college planning, and retirement planning, all using life insurance. My goal is to get people to stop looking at life insurance as just about death and a bill, and look at it as an alternative financial tool to grow and protect their money. Women's Circle Brunch 2025, I'm so excited that it's about to happen. We're almost a week away. And that is an event that I kind of started it back in 2023, where I got a group of women together to introduce them to another female entrepreneur who was wanting introductions to other women for a project that she does. And then at the end of 2023, I was talking to one of my good friends on the phone and was just telling her how when I became an entrepreneur, how I just got connected to so many women and they sowed a seed into me, motivated me, encouraged me, gave me critique and information and resources. And she was like, you need to do an event. And I'm like, okay, okay, I'll do it. Never done a big event before, but I did it and it came out amazing. And one of the things that stood out to me at our first event was that someone said, hey, can we keep this going? And mind you, the first event had 7 women from different aspects of entrepreneurship come together on a panel and just have conversations and talk about different things of our business that can help other women in their business. There's so many resources out here that we don't know where all of them are. And it's just finding the people who are going to give you the information you need so that you can get to the resources. There's a lot of ways that you can get to capital, and I would say one, start with your local bank. You know, that may be the first place that you go to, and I tell people, develop a relationship with your bank because they have resources that you may not even know about. So even if you go to the bank and you're not ready for them to give you a loan, they're going to guide you to somebody else who can give you a loan. So that would be the first step I would do, is go to the bank and talk to them to see what options they have for you. And if they can't help you, tell me who else I can go to that can. There's so many opportunities and there's access to information to help you get started. That's one of the things that we're doing this year at Women's Circle Brunch is we're inviting those women who have a business idea and they don't know where to start. So we're giving them access to people and resources of who they may need to know and know about to turn that idea into an actual business. It is March 29th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. at P30, that beautiful co-working space on the Far East Side. We're actually doing a blue carpet spotlight at 9:30 where you can come and get interviewed by a young entrepreneur by the name of Terry Croney. She's going to interview you before the event, and I just can't wait to see everyone there. I'm so excited. I'm just so excited about this event because we're going to be talking about 5 business topics. We're going to talk about business finance, personal finance, professional development, leadership, and small business startup. We're going to have a pitch competition where the top 3 contestants can win up to $2,000 of business resources. So I have a committee of female entrepreneurs that help me put Women's Circle Brunch together. And they're donating services from their business to help another female business soar. What gets me most excited is just when people are open to share what they've gone through with their finances. You know, finances is a taboo subject that most people don't like to talk about. And getting them to be comfortable and vulnerable enough to share with me so I can help them, that's what brings me the most joy.
We have talked a lot about beneficial ownership information reports over the last few weeks. After the break, Courtney Kincaid fills us in on how they're changing again. That's coming up next.
This Week in Business is made possible by IndyBiz Pass.
March is Women's History Month, and Wish TV joins the community in celebrating the amazing women who make a difference in our state every day. From business owners and entrepreneurs to artisans and innovators, we are sharing the impact they are making now and for generations to come. Join us throughout the day, every day in March on Wish TV.
Celebrating Women's History. Brought to you by McDonald's and Lilly, a medicine company. This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
Welcome again to Business Equity and Opportunities. We've been talking about beneficial ownership information reports for months now. You may have already filed them to avoid huge penalties that were threatened. Now Courtney Kincaid is back and has some really big news to share about these reports.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities, Accounting and Bookkeeping.
Yeah, I feel like I'm on here all the time talking about scams and other things that people should keep an eye on, and now I'm talking about business and regulations and the changing requirements. And so I am back again to talk about beneficial ownership information. It is something that has been delayed and changed and been hung up in court, and the last time I joined you, I spoke about how things were back on. Well, it's been a couple weeks, and so a lot of things have changed again. With the new administration at the federal level, we have changes to the Secretary of Treasury and some changes as a result to beneficial ownership. And we are currently hearing, as of early March, that there will be no penalties or fines assessed to individuals who do not file. And what it's really looking like is the requirement may simply go away. Nothing definitive yet. We are told that the new guidance will be offered somewhere in the third week of March, so any day now. By the time this airs, maybe it will already have been made public. But a good place to look, obviously, is on the webpage along with this segment. But it's looking like they're going to try to reduce this requirement for small businesses. The current administration has expressed the feeling that this is too burdensome for small businesses and too hard to keep up with. And as a result, they will be requiring BOI information from foreign entities only. Again, this is not final, so it's something to keep an eye on. If you've already filed, there's no problem. Maybe keep those for your records. But as you know, as we go into new administrations, there's always a chance that this will come up again in the future. And it's certainly something that we are keeping an eye on in the profession for our members. So like the beneficial ownership information, this is a large time of uncertainty for small businesses, for businesses really of any size, as we think about the implications of tariffs and what that's going to do for supply chain and costs, but also tax extensions. The session is still going on both at the state level and federal level. We don't know. We have a lot of, from the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, a lot of tax extensions that need to happen if we're going to continue to have some small business benefits. And so really we are kind of in a wait and see holding pattern for so many things now, which I know causes a lot of anxiety for small businesses. But it's also, while your CPA might not necessarily know what's going to happen, you know, they understand the scenario were extensions to happen or not happen, and can start kind of guiding you through an understanding of what the next year might look like. Certainly they don't have a crystal ball either, but they are very attuned to what is happening in the regulatory space and the implications that might have on small business owners.
For your business, a well-trained and informed human resources strategy could be a key to your business success. So we'll have details on the upcoming HR conference and find out who will be there. That's next on Business Equity and Opportunity.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities.
Human resources professionals from across the state will be gathering in Indianapolis for what is now the 61st annual Indiana HR Conference and Expo, sponsored by the Indiana Chamber of Commerce. Sally Saydshoev is the Executive Director of the Institute for Workforce Excellence at the Indiana Chamber. She highlights the programs and who should attend.
This is Business, Equity, and Opportunities, running your business day to day.
My name is Sally Saydshoev. I am the Executive Director for the Institute for Workforce Excellence. We're a nonprofit subsidiary of the Indiana Chamber focused on workforce and education efforts. So really meeting with those business owners and HR professionals and regional collaborators to connect them to resources focused on, again, how do they help retain, attract, develop talent for their place of business? And HR professionals play a critical role in being able to address the talent and attraction needs for their business. They also have to maintain things in the legalities and the policies and procedures of their business. And so oftentimes our work focuses on how do we connect those business owners and HR professionals to resources to help them, again, attract talent and develop talent and upskill talent, but also address things like childcare and housing and some of those challenges that individuals have when they come to be employed. How can we help hear what their concerns are and then address those through either program implementation or trainings and workshops to, again, get the right talent into their business. In terms of availability for those resources for individuals in a place of business, HR professionals, again, are critical to being able to help understand the different policies and perspectives, address workplace culture. I think that's a big piece of retaining that talent, is addressing that workplace culture. The benefits are significant in terms of employers addressing some needs for employees, retirement or 401k plans, or other things like ADA compliance, or again the bias of hiring practices. How do we address just, again, the policies in the workplace? What does that look like? So having an HR professional that's there within your business to be able to speak to those concerns, I think just, again, creates a welcoming culture and a welcoming environment for those employees, and that addresses a lot of their retention and attraction challenges. Just as we talk to a lot of our employers and a lot of our regional intermediaries and partners across the state, they're saying, just across the way, if I pay you 25 cents more, that may, have the employee jump from business to business. And so those benefits are crucial. And having an HR professional that is focused on attracting and retaining that talent, again, is critical to the work and the culture and the prosperity of the potential goods and services that you can offer the communities that you're a part of. So we have a conference. It's in its 61st year, so it's a long-standing conference that's offered by the Indiana Chamber. It'll be May 5th through the 7th. It does have an expo, so there's opportunities for individuals to attend sessions, but also hear from other resources that they can learn more about best practices in HR. We talked a little bit about AI and the technology that is up and coming and moving, so there's going to be sessions on that. There's all kinds of exciting opportunities for HR professionals to learn from each other, to learn from the experts, and see what resources are available out there that can help them address the efficiency and effectiveness of their HR practices in their business. In terms of AI, the technology is moving, as we talked to, is quickly coming on board, and maybe some of those policies and procedures aren't coming as quickly along with a technology that's adapting. And so I think this is a great opportunity for HR professionals to understand how to best use AI in your workplace and your hiring practices and addressing some of those other policies and procedures, while also maintaining and understanding the legalities and the policies and procedures that come with AI and hiring biases and some of the other things that may be a challenge for businesses. So in terms of that, there's sessions that can help address some of those concerns from some of our HR professionals that have been using AI and have adapted some systems and have thought about what does this look like in a workplace. Registration, you can register up until around mid-April. If you register by March 31st, you can receive a $50 discount if you register with the Indiana Chamber. In terms of attendance, we have around 300 professionals that will be attending the conference. So there's a great opportunity for professionals to network and to learn from others around best practices in the various things that we had talked about, from AI to workplace culture to attracting talent, and things that HR professionals will need to be successful in their place of business. This is just one aspect of the things that the Chamber does in terms of being, getting your return on investment for membership. There's not just the HR conference, we just hosted a work-based learning conference. So how do you connect to internships and use that opportunity to, train your talent? There's also a health and safety conference. That's one of the largest conferences that the Chamber offers to help you address some of those OSHA concerns or other things that are important to keeping your business moving forward, and those employees understanding the health and safety aspects of how do you address some of those concerns within business. I think being a member also, there's a legislative aspect to the Chamber, especially in this session. It's important for us to hear businesses' voices and advocate. So that's what the Chamber side of the House does for our government affairs team. So there's a lot of benefits to being a member of the Chamber, not just, again, from the perspective of attending workshops, but we really want to take the opportunity to hear from the employers and hear their voice and address some of the concerns from their perspective. So that's really important to the Chamber and the mission of the Chamber for the last 100+ years that we've been operating.
The annual Indiana HR Conference and Expo is coming up May 5th through the 7th at the Indiana Convention Center. If you're interested in attending, early bird pricing ends at the end of this month. We have a link on our website. Coming up next this hour, we talk about the business of lifestyle TV. We have a partner in that we know a lot about next on Business Equity and Opportunities.
Stay connected to what's happening across the state with Wish TV and Indiana's only statewide TV news network. Indianapolis to every corner of the state. Indiana's statewide news network is your trusted source for news, weather, sports, and more. Tune in, stay informed, and be a part of the story with Wish TV and Indiana's only statewide TV news network. Brought to you by Indiana's nationally ranked pediatric experts, Riley Children's Health.
Welcome again to Business Equity and Opportunities on a Sunday morning. Last week we celebrated the 15th anniversary of our popular award-winning morning show, Lifestyle Live. Started out years ago as Indie Style, a live one-hour morning show every weekday. For many years it was the only live show of its kind in our community, aimed at celebrating the things that warm the heart, bring positive energy, and improve your lifestyle. The celebration continues this morning through clips and comments from people who were there in the beginning and those who are taking the show to a new level.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities, Industry Focus.
We did casting calls. We talked to people that could talk off the cuff and make you feel like if they knocked on your door, they'd walk. If you knocked on their door, they'd walk you in and say, "Come, let's have a cup of coffee together." We wanted that interaction across the screen for viewers because it was kind of needed then too. It was an opportunity to be that warm hug in the morning. We used to joke in the first year in particular, if you didn't like this segment, just wait 6 minutes, it's going to change. So that's what we tried to do and try to have the show be like a member of the community as itself. When I watch it now, I take great pride in the fact that, graphics change, people change, subjects change, but the bottom core of that show has never changed. And you can see it in the faces of the guests. You've got guests that want to hang around. You got to shuffle them out half the time because they want to sit around and talk. Honestly, I was surprised of its longevity. When I first started, I thought, we'll give it a couple years. But then it went on. And it grew, and the popularity grew. And it's like, I think we got something going here, because everybody embraced it and kept adding to it. You get people there was a time where we didn't have to start calling people to come on. People were calling us to come on. And when that happens in this genre, you have something. When you don't have to go fish for people to come on, they want to jump in your pond, that's golden. And that's been that way ever since.
I'm extremely honored and humbled by the chance and the opportunity to lead such a remarkable team into the future. This style team, Lifestyle Live, has been around for 15 years here at Wish TV, and it's a dream job for me, if I can be completely honest, just to be here not only getting to celebrate 15 years on the air, but to be kind of mentored by Peggy McClellan and be a part of a team that was there from the very beginning. So this is a huge honor for me. I understand how important it is to keep that warm hug in the morning going. I'm extremely excited for what the future holds with the team that we have now assembled as well. We're full staff and full steam ahead. When it comes to understanding where I see Lifestyle Live going, or the lifestyle department in general going here at Wish TV, it's funny to think how it was such a simple concept to begin with. What started out as just sharing life on TV, being that warm hug in the morning like I mentioned, it's fun to think that that simple concept is going to continue. I can confirm that it's going to continue. The investment is there from Wish TV, Circle City Broadcasting Entertainment. From that corporate side, we've made that investment. But also you see the community continue to invest in us, whether that's through an email, phone call, door knock, because we get those. We know that people want to be on our air. They want to be on our show. They want to tell their story. They want to share somebody in their life that is special, that other people should know about. And I think the reason why the community remains invested in us is twofold. The community loves to learn and know about healing. They love to know when healing is being done in the community. And in a big way, we are part of that. Yes, we're glitz and glamour and celebrity news and the pink pillows on the couch, but we also show that there is hope in tragedy and people overcome hard situations and circumstances all the time. And I think the community loves that and craves that, especially surrounded by hard news. I think that lends itself to where the future of Lifestyle Live is going. I think you'll see a lot more, at least with me at the helm, you'll see a lot more of our team on digital. Kind of acting as those influencers and leveraging their talent from a linear side on the digital side. So they'll be there to inform you, maybe influence you a little bit, and bring the stuff we do on Lifestyle Live in our lifestyle programming into those bite-sized bits of content on social media. But I'm very excited about what we're doing, both on TV, both in the digital space, and it's only going to continue to get better. And those personalities, that fun is never going to change. That's always going to be here as well. So looking forward to that.
Lifestyle Live airs from 10 to 11, and Lifestyle Live at noon, the original show's half-hour cousin, airs at 12. All based in Indianapolis, but nationally syndicated across the United States from New York to California. You can view it free on over-the-air broadcast stations in more than 20 markets. Follow the QR code on your screen to take you directly to the Lifestyle Live website. Coming up this hour on Business Equity and Opportunities, we introduce you to the winner of this year's Mira Resilience Award. Her inspirational success story is next. The hour is drawing short on Business Equity and Opportunities, but we have a success story to share. For the last 26 years, TechPoint has honored tech innovators and development leaders at the annual Mira Awards. It is an opportunity to salute the most innovative people and companies contributing to Indiana's tech ecosystem. We've selected the Resilience Award winner, Nida Ansari, to highlight as our success story.
This is Business Equity and Opportunities Success Story.
It was extremely unexpected, an honor. I was humbled. There were 16 other nominees who had stories equal to mine. Everybody's got one. I think it was validating to a degree to know that the judging panel and whomever heard my story heard it. When the day I got it, I kind of said, I feel seen and I feel heard, and it's completely true. I think that's all what any of us wants. So at the basis of it, that's how I felt. To tell that story was really personal. And I mentioned earlier when we were talking that I haven't told that story before. I didn't tell that story at all. To a degree, I don't know if I felt like it wasn't relevant, but turns out that it is. It's a part and parcel of who I am. It's a huge part of my experience. It took me 19 years to become a citizen. That's a large swath of my life. It predicated what jobs I took. It predicated where I lived. So in no small way, it also predicated whether or not I kept the job, because if I didn't, I would have had to go back. back home to Pakistan, where I had never meaningfully lived. So it means a lot to hear from the tech community that my story was important, and ultimately the impact and the role I play in the tech ecosystem is seen. We moved here February 2001, which was 7 months before 9/11. We moved here with a different plan in mind. At the time, you could become a citizen within a few years of having jobs and being productive members of the community. We also moved as a Pakistani family from the Middle East to right outside of DC. And so when 9/11 happened, it was, I'm 7 months in, I don't know what's happening. I hear and see it on the news, but I meaningfully don't know how it's going to affect our lives. We got to a point where you heard about it. We had neighbors across the street who had their home raided. The Patriot Act changed a lot of things for us. It changed my immigration path. I ultimately then ended up becoming an international student at a private school in Southwest Virginia called Roanoke College. Academically, my plan didn't change. I was a chemistry major, but I found myself in rooms talking about things that I didn't expect to be talking about. All I wanted to do was, I was here to go to school and get a job and do normal things, and I was being asked to represent myself in a way that I didn't know how. So I had an identity thrust on me in a way that I didn't ask for, but I also didn't know how to wear. And I think that's part of the reason why I haven't talked about it until recently, because I didn't, when you're an immigrant in that way, you kind of are coming here for a different life. And when you come here, you're like, all right, I'm here, let's go. You roll your sleeves up and you work. But when unexpectedly you're put into a room and asked to represent, or asked to lay low, or asked to be less or more of something that you didn't know you were to begin with, that becomes a different conversation. That becomes a formative period in your life in a way that no one asks for. I moved here and I'm now college educated multiple times over, right? Immigrant, there are folks here that don't have that benefit. There are people here that are specifically in Indianapolis. We have a large refugee community here that informs a lot of what I do outside of work. I'm on the board of the Immigrant Welcome Center. We're doing our biggest fundraiser is coming up on April 17th called Live Local, Think Global. We hope our community comes out to kind of share stories and hear about immigrants and refugees that are in the Indianapolis community making meaningful difference to the Indianapolis community. A lot of immigrants and a lot of refugees, in fact, pay taxes and are economically viable members of this community in a way that we don't always appreciate. So we're hoping to highlight that in a bigger way. As a college-educated immigrant, it clearly puts me in a different bracket, one that I'm very, very fortunate to be in. So when I think about it and put it in perspective that way, there's worse stories out there. It did take me 19 years to become a citizen. My brother still isn't one. So even within my core and nuclear family, we're in different places. So that's not something I can shut my eyes and not think about, but having to talk about it feels different. Helping people and connecting them to resources they need. So that could be putting the meal packs together, that can be connecting an entrepreneur to an investor, or I connected an entrepreneur in the Bay Area recently to a lawyer here in Indiana, and they're gonna help them through a bunch of legal paperwork and all of that stuff. We found a Guatemalan passport on the street in the city a few weeks ago. We didn't know where to take it, and so we reached out to the Immigrant Welcome Center, and they were able to give us formal guidance on what to do with it. That felt gratifying because it was a closed loop. But yeah, in general, I think it's understanding that we can make a difference in small and big ways, and that connection is extremely important to be able to do that. Right, so the fact that I have somebody to call when we find a Guatemalan passport, it's such a niche situation. We were able to help that person out, hopefully, right? But that ripple effect, that butterfly effect, it extends pretty far and wide when we think about geographies. If I'm able to pack a meal here that eventually gets distributed to somebody in South Sudan, the fact that I've helped in any measurable way, whether it's putting a grain of rice into a bag, been able to put food on the table for a family in South Sudan or Yemen or Pakistan, there's nothing better, honestly.
Over the next few weeks, Nita will be sharing her insights on several topics with us, including tips for increasing your pool of mentors, how to find purpose by helping in your community, and how she helps entrepreneurs gain the confidence to succeed. We have a new show every Sunday morning on Wish TV, wishtv.com as well, and we post each of our segments from this week and past episodes on beoshow.com. While you're there, do sign up for our newsletter. We'll share resources and links to the Indie BizPass ecosystem. Thank you for spending this hour with us, and join us next week for more business equity and opportunities. Till then, I'm Scott Sander. Have a great day.
Business, equity, and opportunities made possible by Fifth Third Bank, Indiana Black Expo, Gemco, Indie BizPass, Bose McKinney & Evans, Eskenazi Health, and Lilly, a medicine company.